Hi 10th graders, welcome to your first video in our A Raisin in the Sun unit. We are about to start reading this play, A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry. But before we do that, we are going to talk about social protest art, because this play is actually an example of social protest art. So first of all, we need to define this term. I want you to have your packets open right now because we're going to be writing down the definition and some notes in our packets. And in order to define social protest art, I want us to kind of break this down into some smaller pieces. When we think about the word art, we are going to be thinking about visual art like photography or paintings or murals, but we're also going to be thinking about art as songs, as books or plays or poetry. And so our definition of art here is really broad. If you think about the term social protest, I wonder what comes to mind for you. Maybe you're thinking about Black Lives Matter protests, or maybe this makes you think about environmental climate change protests. So those would all be examples of protesting. But let's look at what our definition is for social protest art. I want you to write this in your packet. It is art that addresses and challenges cultural power structures. So cultural power structures are things that give some people power while taking power away from other people. So for example, we're talking about things like racism, sexism, homophobia. With sexism, right, it would give men more power while taking power away from people who aren't men. So social protest art is any art that is pushing back against things like racism or sexism or homophobia. So make sure you have this definition written down in your notes. And now we're going to look at some examples. First of all, here we have the kind of bronze power, Black Power fist. And this is a sculpture that is in Minneapolis, not too far from where I live. It was built during the 2020 uprising in George Floyd Square. And so it's kind of a symbol of the Black Lives Matter movement. And that would be an example of social protest art. Here's some other examples that you might have heard of. I know a lot of students have read this book, The Hate U Give, or seen the movie. So that's an example of social protest art because it's challenging racism and police brutality. We have Kendrick Lamar here. His songs are often examples of social protest art, and so are these other examples as well. A lot of things can count as social protest art, so we could think about posters or banners used in a protest. Also, if you change the appearance of a traditional existing piece of art to make a comment about a social issue, that would also count. So this used to be a statue honoring a Confederate soldier from the Civil War, and Black Lives Matter activists actually changed it to be honoring Breonna Taylor. And so that is an example of social protest art as well. Songs that are by artists who are commenting on problems in our society. And finally, books, poems, and plays by writers who are addressing problems in our society. And that's what our play, A Raisin in the Sun, is. It's a play, that's challenging problems in our society. So hip hop is a genre that a lot of us listen to, and you might be recognizing some of the artists on the screen. Obviously, we have Lil Baby and J. Cole. This is Anderson .Paak, and one of my favorite artists, No Name. All of their songs can count as social protest art as well. And we're going to be looking at an article here that's talking about how hip hop artists have taken on an activist role in the Black Lives Matter movement through their music. So this article is specifically about the song The Bigger Picture, which is by the rapper Lil Baby. It came out in 2020 during the 2020 uprising, just about a month after George Floyd was murdered. So this song, if you don't know it, is a protest anthem, a social commentary track speaking against police brutality and racial injustice. And that's why it would count as a form of social protest art. I want us to take a look at a couple of the lyrics from this song. And we're specifically going to be looking at a simile in the song lyrics. So a simile is when you compare two things that are not like each other using the word like or as. So we're going to read through these lyrics in your packet, and I want you to underline the simile that you find in these song lyrics from the song The Bigger Picture. After you've done that in your packet, I want you to think about, what is the effect of this simile? Like, what are these lyrics actually saying, and how do they make us feel? So you could say, this simile makes me think about, this simile makes me feel, and I want you to jot this down in your packet. So finally, if we're looking at those lyrics, they were meant to illustrate the long-standing pain that police killings, like George Floyd's or Breonna Taylor's, have brought upon the Black community. And finally, our last question here is, what is at the core of rap music? And that's kind of asking, like, what is at the heart of rap music? Or what is this all about? And how does it relate to social protest art? So we're thinking about the way that rap has often been used as activism or for social justice movements, because this article says, at its core, rap music has always embodied the plight of the Black individual in America. And plight means a dangerous or difficult situation. Since its very beginning, rap has functioned as a way for Black individuals, along with other communities of color, to make sense of situations of poverty and inner city violence. So think about what that's saying. What role has rap played in activism and social justice movements? And how is it giving voice to people who are trying to fight back against injustice? So in your own words in your packet, I want you to try and answer this question here. All right, so social protest art, it's all around us. It's in movies that we watch, graffiti, posters, billboards that we pass on the street that are challenging cultural power structures. What are some examples that you can think of that are maybe playing in your headphones? So for your mastery check, you're going to be asked to find a song that is an example of social protest art. So you can start thinking about that now as well.